Hello, welcome everyone to the Marketing Alliance, a Colorado-based collective of B2B marketing and communications professionals. I'm Dana Young and I lead the programming team. The Marketing Alliance's name is new, but formerly known as the BMA Colorado chapter. We've been creating a network of business professionals for over 60 years. Our mission is to provide networking and learning opportunities for people just like you. In fact, becoming a member of the Marketing Alliance just became easier with our new member pricing of $129 annually. As a member of the Marketing Alliance, you can learn, network, and build skills and experience. You'll also be able to gain recognition and stay on top of the latest marketing trends, business practices, best practices, and new developments. More information is available on our website. Today's webinar is part of our ongoing Job Seeker series and is on how to motivate yourself in today's job market. It features a presentation by Corey Burkholder. Corey is a career transition and creativity coach, artist and co-founder of Vitamin R, a well-being and creative innovation company. She has an extensive background in the creative marketing and entertainment fields, from e-entertainment to BBDO advertising to TVT records, and has successfully transitioned careers many times over the last 20 years. Corey now loves helping others find and transition into new careers that are more purposeful and aligned with who they are at the core. Corey, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to be a career coach?
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me today. So at a very early age, I knew that I wanted to have a fun, adventurous, and unconventional career path. So I chose to get an arts administration degree in and theater. And I chose to have a career in the entertainment business. So over the last 20 years, I've changed careers over 7 times. Sometimes it was voluntary to pursue my passions, and I've also gotten let go of jobs as well. So I know how that feels. So in each of the transitions, I've either had to figure it out on my own, which took me a little bit of time. And I've also worked with, career coaches to help me in those times of transition. So each transition I had been successful. So I've worked for TV networks like CW, the E! Entertainment Television, and on-air casting and wardrobe. I've worked for advertising companies, major and indie record labels. I managed bands, mobile entertainment, ad tech. And I've even turned side hustles into profitable careers, which brings me to today. So I have a career coaching firm now, and I help mid-career and early career professionals find and land more purpose-driven work that is aligned with their values, their purpose, their passions, and their skills. So enough about me.
I've had the opportunity to preview the content that Corey's going to talk about today, and it's really insightful and interesting. So I know we're going to have a great webinar. So just to give everyone some background, the way we're going to run things today is that Corey will present for about 30 to 35 minutes. Towards the end of the webinar, we'll choose a couple of registrants to have the opportunity for a 5-minute coaching session with Corey. And also just to clarify, towards the start of the presentation as well, we're going to call on a couple of people to share, at which point you would be promoted from a registrant to a panelist, and your video and audio would be shared. So when we get to that, just be familiar with the fact that your face and your voice will be shared within the webinar, and be comfortable with the fact that would be happening if you put yourself forward for that position. For everyone else, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A as we go. However, a reminder that we won't take questions until the end of the presentation. We'll also share Corey's details at the end of the webinar. So over to you, Corey. Let's get started.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I would just love to get a feel for who is here. So if you just write in the comment section, like, who here is employed but actively looking for another job. So they're looking for what's next. Maybe you've been, without employment, or maybe you're furloughed. So just wanting to really get a sense of who is here. And, as we know, we are going through a really difficult time right now. Things are changing. There's a lot of uncertainty. So there's a lot of different emotions that you might be feeling, especially if you have a job loss, or, even if you have a job and you're looking for what's next, it can cause a lot of different emotions, like up and down, up and down. So it can be stress, it can be anxiety, it could be depression. So maybe you're experiencing like a loss of identity or self-purpose. Maybe you're feeling underappreciated, or you're no longer essential. Maybe you're angry, maybe jealous, feeling jealous of other people who are working or who are in their dream jobs. Or maybe you're just lost and not really sure, what's next. So when you're feeling these emotions, the first step is really awareness, like knowing where you are in terms of your emotions. The second step is acceptance that these feelings are normal. It's important to allow the emotions to run its course. So say you're mad, right? If you're mad, punch a pillow, scream into a pillow, listen to some crazy music, dance, whatever it is that's going on. You have to release that emotion. Otherwise, if you bury it, like if you have a lot of disappointment, maybe you didn't get that job and you just bury that and you don't deal with it, that emotion could actually come through in your next interview, or maybe it comes out with your family or your spouse or your significant other. So it's really important to be able to work with that emotion and really allow it to run its course, and which will help diffuse it. So the other thing is, having awareness. So having awareness, you're able to detach from it. You're able to take a step back and observe the feeling, which also helps diffuse it, right? And then you're able to start to, reach for better feeling thoughts. So let's say that you got a rejection from, a company that you were really excited about, and you're feeling pretty low, and you have another interview in a few hours, right? So how do you go from feeling hopeless to confident? That's a really, really big leap. So I use something called the emotional guidance scale. So I didn't come up with this. This is borrowed from Esther Hicks and the Teaching of Abraham. It's, pretty law of attraction-ish, but I love it. So the emotional scale is a list of commonly felt emotions. So ranging from joy, appreciation, freedom, love, empowerment. Those are the highest emotions that you can feel. To fear, despair, depression, grief, powerlessness, which is the lowest. So I'm just going to share my screen right now, and just to give you a sense of what this looks like visually. So this is what that emotional scale looks like. So if you're at the bottom of the scale, you're really going to want to start working your way upwards. So when you want to feel better, you can identify where you are on the emotional scale and proactively start reaching for better feeling thoughts, which is going to lead to better feeling emotions. And once you're stable in a new emotion, you're able to move up the scale even more. So ways that you can move up the scale, the big question, right? So I'm going to give you a few tips on this. So having a gratitude practice, having a gratitude practice before, you're going into that interview. I am so grateful to have this opportunity to really share my skills and my strengths and my passion for this company. I'm really grateful for my health and my body that really allows me to use my mind and my creativity. So this really helps move you up that scale. So I'm just curious if anybody has a gratitude practice right now. And if you do, just say yes. We'd love to see how many of you have a gratitude practice. The other thing you can do to move yourself up the scale, do things that bring you joy, right? So nature hikes, creative writing, whatever your sense of fun is, playing with your pet. Like I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is grab my cat she really puts me in this high vibration. So think about what brings you joy and peace. I would love to hear from you. And again, I'm going to stop sharing this because you're going to get this in a handout at the end. So we'd love to see who what brings you joy and what brings you peace. The other thing that you can do, and this is one of my favorite ones, is, doing something to pay it forward, doing a random act of kindness. And when I'm feeling low, I will get on LinkedIn and I will write a random, like a recommendation for somebody that I used to work for or work with, and not expect anything in return. But that always gets me up the scale pretty quickly. So thinking about what you can do for someone else gets you higher up the scale. And the last thing I'll say, there's many ways, but these are just ways that I'm going to share with you today, is to write a list of your professional and personal accomplishments that you've had in your jobs ever since you started. So if you've been interviewing, you might already have this list, but it's great to have it somewhere typed out so that you can just look at it and really look at how awesome you are, because I know you are. All right, so I'm going to share, like with this handout I'm going to keep referring to, we're going to give it to you at the end, and there's links there that can give you more suggestions on ways of working up the scale. Okay, so this is, the first way to motivate yourself during your job search journey or wherever you happen to be in the journey, and knowing where you are emotionally and being able to move yourself up towards better feeling thoughts, which is going to get you into better feeling emotions. Okay, so just to break things up a little bit, I'd love to see who's with us today. So if you are open to sharing, you will type in yes, and you are going to be promoted to from a registrant to a panelist, and your video and audio are going to be shared. So only type yes if you are prepared to share your video and audio. And I'm going just to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to type these questions into the chat. And I'd love to know your name, where you're calling in from, where you are on the emotional scale today, and what action can you take today to move yourself higher up the scale. So I'm just going to we need to do a little back end magic here, which takes a little bit, but yeah, so just to share, I am a coach and I deal with lots of rejection. I hear no's all the time. And sometimes I get off a call and I hear a no, and I have to go right into another call in like a half an hour. And so I have to refresh myself. So a lot of times I will go for a walk around the block or something, and just to get my energy levels up. And even on that walk, I'm doing my gratitude practice. Yeah, so I just heard none of you want to get on here. Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna, encourage you to use this as an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone. I know what it feels like to be a little timid, but when you are able to share, it opens up opportunities. So I know there's a lot of people on this call today, and I love using these as networking opportunities. As I'll go into a little bit later, networking is a huge part of finding your next opportunity. So I'll just give it another couple seconds and see. Oh, hi, Dana.
Hello again. I'll be brave.
Hi.
I will,
great.
I will lead by example, and maybe someone else will jump in after me. As many of the attendees are already aware, my name's Dana Young. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I am a little bit anxious, but also excited today. I had a final interview yesterday, and I'm waiting to hear back. And I think in terms of like what could maybe, yeah, I know, right? Fingers crossed. I think maybe, the action I can take today to move me a little higher on the scale is possibly just some disconnecting. I think I plan on going for a walk with one of my neighbors tonight, and getting outside. So.
Great, great. That's an awesome way of disconnecting from technology and giving yourself some nature to refuel.
Yes.
Right?
Would anyone else like to jump
Perfect.
in?
I know.
Got a lot of shy attendees here.
Yes. Well, we're going to have some coaching at the end. So think about if you want to get coaching. It's a really great opportunity to have a breakthrough today. All right. So if there's nobody that wants to jump in, we'll just keep moving along. Okay. So another way to stay motivated during your transition is being aware of your mindset. Sometimes when we're in this process, we are getting a lot of rejections, or we're hearing crickets, or we're getting ghosted by recruiters, and it can take a toll on our mindset. So maybe, you start coming up with stories about why, and your inner critics are going crazy, like, I'm not good enough, no one wants to hire me, I don't have enough talent or experience, and they go on and on and on. So it's important to take care of your mindset and be aware of the stories that you're creating about yourself, and to practice kindness to yourself during this period. So here are a few motivational strategies that I use with my clients. So, knowing that finding a job is just temporary. Knowing, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, but this too shall pass. So it's a moment in time where you're growing, you're learning, you're using your resourcefulness, your resilience, and also to think back on a time in your past when you were looking for a job back. Maybe it was the last job that you landed. What worked for you back then? And think about what worked back then, and would that strategy work now? Can you repeat that? There are clues in the past. So if you would love, I would love to hear from you, maybe something that you did to land your last job. What was a strategy that you had last time? And would it work again? And when you're sharing, you're probably sharing nuggets of gold for the other attendees to get some ideas, and the wheels turning. So please share your wisdom with the group in the chat. The next thing is learning how to accept rejection, right? So hearing no, but just knowing that rejection is part of the process, right? It's almost like dating, I mean, how many of us have dated people that weren't right for us, but we kept, every time we kept getting more and more clear about what it is that we want and what it is that we need. So don't take it personally. It's getting you one step closer to yes. So allow the feelings to run through your mind and your body, like mourn it, get angry, do what needs to be done to heal. And then just start studying the lessons, ask the interviewee for any feedback. A lot of times you won't get it, but don't create a negative story about why you didn't get it. So you have a choice here, and you can create an empowering story of why you didn't get it and why it didn't work out. So reflect, analyze the whole interview process, and figure out how you can do better next time. So knowing how to learning how to accept rejection, right? The other thing to, get into a better mindset is doing some powerful visioning and journaling exercises. So envision yourself landing your dream role. Feel what it feels like when you hear the words, "You're hired," or, "We want to make you an offer." So, maybe type into the chat, what words do you need to hear right now from someone? And I would love to hear it, because I want to say it out loud to whoever types it into the chat. What words do you need to hear right now? Is it, "You're hired," "We want to offer you $10,000 more than what you asked for"? Dana, you are hired. So when you hear that, feel what it feels like in your body. You know, feel that, because that's really what anchors it in. You know, the other thing you can do is envision what it feels like to be making a difference in your role, in your role every day, in your job every day. What kind of people are you working with? What kind of impact are you having in the world? Are you working remotely? Do you get to travel? Are you in a leadership role? So really starting to envision what it is that you want and really getting into that feeling and locking it into your body. You know, getting in touch with your why is huge. So obviously we all need a job to support ourselves. We need to make money to survive, right? So, but it goes deeper than that. So what does money symbolize to you? Is it to support your family? Is it to educate your children? Is it to be a role model? To be in service to humanity, to save the planet? You know, being clear on your why is a massive, massive motivator. So just to share, like what I was saying before, I hear a lot of no's. You know, sometimes I can go a week and have 7 calls and hear no's. And I'm like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing with my life? And I tune back into my why, and that gets me motivated again. So think about this. Do you know your why? Do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know why you're going for that job? Think about it. And if you know your why, type it into the chat. Would love to see it. And the last thing, suggestion I have is connecting to your powerful self. So I take all of my clients on a beautiful visualization to meet their powerful self. It's powerful self, future self. And so this is the part of you that's unstoppable. This is the part of you that has all the wisdom in the world, who is calm, who is wise, and knows what it's going to take to get you where you're going. So I have a gift for you. It's a free Powerful Self kit that's going to be included in the handout. And you can try it out and tap into your future self. So these are just some ways that you can motivate yourself and transform your mindset in order to get back into a positive state of mind while you're in this job search process. Okay. So the next thing that's going to help motivate you and keep you on track and keep you going is finding a really strong support system. So surround yourself with positive people. I can't say that enough. You know, surround yourself with people doing what you want to be doing, or friends who already have their dream jobs. That energy is really contagious. And knowing also that you're not alone in this, you know, put your team together, put your support system together. You know, you can work with a career coach, find a mentor, find an accountability partner, join LinkedIn groups. You know, there's tons of LinkedIn groups that are specific to your industry. And I have a few suggestions for LinkedIn groups for, you know, job searching that again we'll share on that worksheet. Okay. So does anybody have any questions up until this point? If you do, please type them into the chat about anything that I covered so far. And if not, I will keep moving onward. Okay, so some more tips to staying motivated. I find that some clients who I work with who are in that job search don't have a system. They're not organized. They haven't organized their Monday through Friday. So staying motivated, you know, it's coming up with structure. And also I see a lot of clients who are doing a lot of online applications. So they're applying online, they're not hearing anything, and they're wondering why. They're just throwing a bunch of resumes out there into the ether, right? And they're not hearing anything. So I find out that like 80 to 90% of their time is spent that way. and maybe 10 to 20% is spent on networking. That should be reversed. I know it goes against everything that you probably know, but those should be flipped. So 40% of hires come from referrals. Let me say that again. 40% of hires come from referrals. The next largest channel is via career sites at 21%. So that's half as many. Referrals get hired in an average of 3 weeks, while other applicants, it can take up to 7 weeks. And referrals get paid more on average than cold applicants. So there's a great article that I have on this where I got these sources, and I'm going to share that in the worksheet with you as well. It's super helpful. So that just kind of tells you where your time should be spent. Instead of, sending resumes through the job boards, it's really more efficient and wiser to be making connections, networking, sharing with people what you're up to, and those kinds of activities. So I talked a little bit about structure. So when I work with my clients who are in the end of the program where we're working with more of the tactical pieces of job searching, we come up with a schedule. So I'm just going to share what that could look like, and maybe this will spark some ideas for you. And again, this will be on the worksheet as well. So I have a thing called New Opportunity Monday. And so this is where you're generating new opportunities for yourself. So you're looking for dream companies or dream roles that you want to add to your job search roster. So here you're setting up Google alerts. You're looking for people that you know who work at the company. You're scouring LinkedIn. You're seeing what kinds of opportunities are available at these dream companies. And if there isn't one, can you create one? Finding the hiring manager at these companies. So this is just really generating new opportunities, new inspiration for yourself to add into your queue. So Tuesdays I call New Outreach Tuesday. So now that you've done this research on Monday, now it's time to start connecting with people and, being thoughtful in your connection requests when you're doing it on LinkedIn. I have a helpful resource for this on how to get a job anywhere with no connections. You want to join LinkedIn groups specific to this target. So really, this is that new outreach. You're creating new connections here. Wednesdays, I have Follow-Up Wednesday, Follow-Up and Apply Wednesday. So this is where you're following up with contacts, maybe from job interviews from the previous weeks, or you tried to set up coffee dates and nothing ever happened, So this is really about following up with people, right? Tapping into that hidden job market that we coaches always love to talk about. So Thursdays is Reconnection Thursday. So this is when you're reaching out to old contacts, old colleagues, old bosses. You're telling them, what you're up to, what you're looking for, and of course, you always want to give back. So if you're asking for something, you want to give back to them. Maybe are you looking for a connection in a certain industry? Can I help you make a connection here or there? So that should be a goal of yours, to reconnect with at least 3 people from your past. And a lot of my clients have gotten jobs this way. So this is really a good tactic. And also, don't forget about in-person networking. I don't know if this really is existing anymore, but in the future, when we're able to get back together, to be working that into your plan as well. And lastly, Friday, give yourself a little bit of a break, pat yourself on the back, take some time for self-care, whether that's meditation, yoga, nature walks, reward yourself. I also dedicate this to learning new skills. What would really complement your existing skill set, or maybe you're looking into a new industry, and what kind of skills do you need? So really ramping up your new skills, and even volunteering. volunteering is a great way to meet new people and new connections, and you're doing something that you really feel passionate about and you feel purposeful. So, maybe it's a volunteering on Fridays. So that's kind of a sample way to organize your week. And it just gives you can breathe knowing what you need to focus on the next day. It's just not, oh, what am I going to do today? But you have a plan, and that really gives you motivation. So who here, and would love to see in the chat, how many people have a schedule, something similar like this? Just say, yes, I do. A lot of my clients don't have this yet, so it's awesome, Dana. Great. Okay, so the last part of this, keeping this motivation going is, you got to take care of yourself, as we said in the beginning. Moving yourself up the scale. We need to have ongoing self-care practices, because when we are in this job search, it's stressful. It causes a lot of anxiety and uncertainty, and that really can take a toll on our body, our mind, our soul, our nervous systems. So it's really important to take care of your mind and your body. So a few ways of doing that is obviously getting a good night's sleep. We all need a good 7 to 8 hours, and that really is going to affect your brain power in the morning and throughout the day. Beware of your diet and nutrition. Be aware of the food that you're putting in your body and how it affects your energy levels. Reduce alcohol consumption. Alcohol affects your focus and your energy levels. Even if it's while you're just in this process, just cutting back on the sugar, on the alcohol really helps your mind. Drinking water throughout the day, that really helps your mind as well. Stay hydrated. I know that most of us are really hard workers here. And it's hard for us to take a break, right? So I'm guilty of it. I can work hours and hours and hours and not take a break. And I catch myself, because I catch myself when no new ideas are coming in, or I'm feeling a little drained and I keep trying to go and go and go, and like nothing new is coming. So that's when I know I need to take a break. Don't get that far. When you end a project, give yourself the permission to take a break. For me, that was really a hard concept for me to grasp, was giving myself permission to take a break, because one of my values is I'm a hard worker. But I had to switch that around. Just because I'm a hard worker doesn't mean that I can't take a break when I need to. Okay, so the other thing is working out, getting movement and exercise is really important. Get up and do some lunges, jumping jacks, whatever it is to get that blood flowing again. And that kind of works in with taking a break too. The other thing that I love is creating mantras and positive affirmations to raise your vibration. So this is another way to get up the scale. So, positive affirmations. I love the the commitment of looking for a job that suits my purpose. Whatever it is for you, what could really inspire you and put you in a higher vibration? So creating mantras, positive affirmations to raise your vibration. And when you're done with these, put them around your work area. Put them up on your TV screen or your alarm clock or your lamp or whatever, but put them in places that you're going to be reminded of these affirmations. And they really do. It's, again, I believe in the law of attraction. And so, you are what your thoughts are. So you attract what your thoughts are. So putting affirmations around where you can see them. And lastly, we, having a Zen-like workspace. So really creating a place where you're feeling inspired to go to work every day. So I know a lot of us are working from home. A lot of us had to set up our own workspaces. So it's really fun and inspiring when you have a place where you're like, I want to come here and work. So that's feng shui, Zen, whatever it is for you, whatever that looks like, colors that inspire you. But just making sure too, at the end of the day, that you clean up your workspace so that the next day when you come in, this is where I want to work for the day. So these are all ways to stay motivated for your job search. We know that it's not an easy process for us. So yeah, just keeping these things in mind that I've shared with you today. Again, we are going to have a worksheet for you to access with all of these tools. And I'm just going to read this. Okay. So I just had to read some behind the scenes. So we're going to go into some live coaching now. Okay. So if you are interested in getting some live coaching, and again, this is an opportunity for you to have a breakthrough. So if you are interested, please type yes if you're open to getting some coaching, and you will be promoted to talk without the video. Okay. So that's not so scary, right? So you'll be promoted from a registrant to a panelist, and there's going to be no video, just audio. And I would love to connect with you and help you have a breakthrough. So it could be around anything. It could be related to today's subject or something else where you're feeling stuck in your career growth, or where you kind of want to get unstuck. And just to share a little bit about coaching. Coaching isn't about giving advice and telling you what to do. Coaching is about, a coach's job is to get the answers out of you. It's our job is to ask you empowering questions, to go deeper and deeper and deeper, to get you to your own conclusion. Because I could tell you what to do all day, right? But that's not going to land with you. That's not going to inspire you to take action. But when you come up with the answer yourself, boom, there's your inspiration to take action. So that's my job today, is to help you get to your own answer. And it's going to really help you move forward in your career or in your life, or where you're feeling stuck. So let's see, would anyone like to, yeah, so Dana is sharing, would anyone like to participate in a short coaching session? Don't be shy, you're in really good hands. I love to listen, and I love to lead people to have breakthroughs. So this is a really unique opportunity for you to step out of your comfort zone. When you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that's really where the growth happens. That's where the aha moments happen. That's where you can go from this, like, I'm heading in this direction, kind of, I think, to here. I'm moving in this direction. This feels really good. This feels powerful. I know exactly what I want to do now. So we're going to just do 5-minute coaching sessions to those who are brave.
I'll be brave. Let's get it started.
All right, so let me time. So I know that I don't want you to worry about the time.
Okay.
So let me just set my timer here. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you, just in the beginning, like I said, my job isn't to give you advice or to tell you what to do. My job is to ask you empowering questions to get to your own conclusion so that you're inspired. So I'm just going to ask you a question. Okay. All right. So Dana, what would you like coaching on, or what would you like to have a breakthrough around today?
That's a good question. I wasn't prepared. How I could feel more confident about reaching out to contacts for network opportunities while I'm in a period of my life where I'm unemployed. I feel as if I don't have anything to offer at this point, and so it makes me feel a little less confident about asking for that networking opportunity.
Hmm. So I'm hearing a story that you've created that you don't have anything interesting to offer. Is that right?
I feel as if I don't have, in my experience on a networking call, you typically offer to help each other in some way. And I feel as if my options for helping in return are limited at this point in time. Potentially because I don't
Mm,
have a job from which to leverage that opportunity from.
hmm. So what is your definition of helping others?
Paying it forward, I guess
Mm.
in the context of
So,
this conversation, you know, being able to help them with a new introduction to someone that they might want to meet or that they might find interesting, or that could potentially help them with a position, or things like that. So, you know, I guess paying it forward.
so right in this moment, you're feeling like you can't pay it forward because you don't have connections in a certain industry.
No, I feel like I have the connections. The connections are there and the relationships are there. I guess maybe I feel a sense of, I don't want to say shame. Shame isn't the right word. I'm not ashamed that I don't have a job. I think maybe I'm embarrassed.
Mm. So you are dealing with a feeling of embarrassment. So that is preventing you from helping other people.
Or even helping myself.
Mm. So let's dive deeper into the embarrassment. So what is that like for you?
I'm someone who has worked my entire life with very few gaps. So I find um, it's been a real challenge to be out of work, both in terms of keeping myself busy and motivated and focused, but also in terms of remaining positive about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
I think the embarrassment plays into that. I haven't found myself in this position for a long period of time before.
mm. So there's a part of you that's it's kind of new, this embarrassment part of yourself that you haven't been introduced to yet. And so this part has, I always use the metaphor of a car. So there's probably been another part that's always been driving, that's known exactly what they're doing, that hasn't been in this situation before, but this new part has popped up into the driver's seat and is all of a sudden driving, right? You feel like it's driving the car right now?
Not all the time, but a little bit to some degree, yes.
Hmm.
I think I am, where I have been, where I feel I have been good is in coming back to what you said earlier about maybe flipping the numbers. I'm definitely doing a lot of online applications and identifying companies that I want to work for, and looking at positions that they might have available. I'm a little bit lighter on the networking. So, you know,
Mm.
I want to, I have a good structure to my week. I identify different days for doing different tasks, and I put aside time to do that as well as to do the applications. But I would like to find more time for networking and feeling more confident about that outreach.
Mm. So we need to move the embarrassment part of yourself, because this part is somehow it's protecting you in a way. We would have to dive deeper into it in a session, but this part is driving. And so we kind of need to negotiate and have it step over into the passenger seat so you can feel freedom to, if that part of you wasn't driving, what would be possible for you?
I would be having more conversations with connections than I am currently.
And if you were able to have more connections with more people, what would that do for you?
It would probably open up conversations around job opportunities or introductions to other people who could potentially help with job opportunities.
Yeah. So if you were to start, to start new conversations with new people that had, that would open up new job opportunities, what would that do for you?
It might help me find employment.
And if you found employment, what would that do for you?
It would erase some of the embarrassment that I'm feeling about being out of work.
Full circle.
Full circle, exactly.
Full circle. So do you see that? Do you see that full circle?
Yeah.
And so now that you have awareness around that, what can you take away from that?
I think sitting with that information for a little bit and then, really trying to remember that full circle aspect of just trying to put that feeling aside and remember the reward.
Yeah, so remembering the reward, which is?
Finding employment and not being embarrassed.
Not being embarrassed. So if you were to create some kind of inspired action around, you've noticed the embarrassment, right? We have awareness. Now that we have awareness, we can shift things a little bit, but what kind of inspired action could you take to work with the embarrassment? So it's part of your internal team that's working together.
How would you define an inspired action?
An inspired action is something where you want to take action around having a breakthrough here. So we're working with embarrassment. We've seen the full circle of, like, if you have you meet new people, you would open up new opportunities. New opportunities would open up maybe interviews and so we're kind of working ourselves away. So how could we work with embarrassment to kind of move you forward? Some kind of action that you could take.
I mean, maybe, for example, I could commit to reaching out to two contacts that I would like to have a conversation with next week, setting up those conversations, and then when I have the encouragement of those conversations having gone well, I could start to build out the number of people that I start to contact.
And what is your definition of going well?
Not being as scary as I think it is. You're not needing to feel embarrassed about the position that I'm in. I mean, I know many people are in the same position right now. I'm not alone in this, and I'm probably not alone in the fact that, I'm someone who has always found myself employed, and this is a new scenario to be in. So, I know that there's solace to be taken in the fact that I'm not the only person in this position right now, but I think maybe taking a first step and then building upon that first step, which helps create a chain of events, could be helpful.
Yeah, the other thing too, and I'm just going to throw this there, instead of coming from a place of embarrassment, what other viewpoint could you take? So let's say embarrassment is one viewpoint. what other viewpoint could you take? What other viewpoint could you step into that feels a little bit more empowering around networking?
I'm not sure. Could you provide
Well,
a couple of examples?
yeah, so one is embarrassment, another one is confidence in my skills and that I have something to offer. Um, Something like that.
I definitely
Instead of
believe
coming,
I have confidence in my skills and that I feel like I have something to offer. I just feel uncomfortable calling upon contacts when maybe it's pride, right? Maybe it's pride that's the sticking point and not wanting to let people know too much about what's going on. So maybe I just need to ask for a little bit of help.
and what would that look like?
Like I said, just taking the first step of, next week committing to reaching out to a couple of people, setting up those meetings, having those conversations, realizing that those conversations, while hard to have, probably aren't as hard as I think they are, and then building upon that to create a series of actions.
Okay, great. So you're committing to reaching out to 2 people in your network within the next 7 days.
I am, and it's recorded, so I have to do it.
Yes, and I'm going to hold you accountable for it. So this time next week, I'm going to be checking in with you to see how that went for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. So how does that feel?
It feels empowering. It feels good to have made a decision that I can put into action for something that I've been avoiding.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being brave and stepping into this. But you see, like, how coaching works. I want you to get there. You know, we had to go through some layers to get to the gold, and then creating inspired actions that is going to get you one step closer to what your goal is.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And that pretty much wraps up things. It's been a pleasure. I hope, this was helpful to people.
Before we wrap up today, does anyone have any questions that they want to pop in the chat? We have a few minutes here and we can take some questions if anyone would like to ask anything. Okay. All right, well, a warm thank you to Corey for her insights and her guidance today. I'm going to share Corey's contact information in the chat in a moment, should anyone wish to contact her or reach out. Thanks to everyone for attending today as well. We have a few more webinars coming up on topics including email marketing tips and tricks for success, how marketers can support B2B sales teams in tough times, and agile marketing, applying Scrum methods to scaling digital teams. I'm going to place the links in the chat now. So there's information on our events, our members page, Corey's contact information, and also the link to the worksheet that she referenced throughout the presentation. So feel free to click that, and you're available. That link is available for you to review and engage with the information. It'll also be included in a follow-up blog post on the webinar sometime next week. And lastly, a big thank you to our partners. We wouldn't be able to do much of the work we do without their support. And they're all highly appreciated. So again, a big thank you to Corey. It was super insightful, and I feel a little bit like I've been on the chopping block now because nobody else kind of chimed in and did the coaching, but I hope you all learned something from the discussion that we had, and that there was takeaways for everybody. Have a great day, and thank you for attending, and we hope to see you in an event soon. Bye-bye.